My dog will only eat when I or my wife is eating. If I put food in his bowl he will wait till we eat. What odd personality thing does your pet do? My dog lays down in the middle of our walk if she wants to say hello to a dog walking towards us. She won't move from the laying position until we ask her, "Do you want to say hi?" My dog wouldn't pee if anyone was watching. She'd get in the right position, in a suitable patch of grass, then make eye contact as if to say, "Some privacy please." My dog poops in long grasses and into low growing bushes to hide her poop. If those are not an option, she will get as close as possible to the side of a wall to poop. It's like she's purposefully pooping where nobody will step in it. Good dog. My dog does the same thing. When he eats, he takes his food out of his bowl, spits it on the ground, and eats it off the ground. I have a little Shih Tzu that will get 10-15 pieces of food into her mouth, come into the dining room when we eat, spit it all out, take one and toss it up, pounce on it, eat it, then repeat the process. My dog shoots in a pile. We've watched her in the backyard, find the pile, then position her butt just right, so the next turd lays on top. Hilarious. Very practical too. One scoop and that crap's gone. Oh, how I wish my dog would do this. I have to clean up in the backyard every time he poops, otherwise he'll try and poop in the tallest grasses and most inconspicuous areas. It's so frustrating. Funny thing is, a year ago, a peach fell on him while he was under our peach tree. He'll poop under it during the winter, but when the peaches are ripe he'll avoid that whole side of the backyard. This is probably common cat behavior, but regardless how much food is in the cat's dish, he freaks out if he can see the bottom of the dish, as if he's in danger of starving to death that very moment. If you just nudge with the dish with your foot so that the bottom is once again covered with food, then he calms right now. I have a cat that won't eat his wet food unless the can was opened in front of him at that moment. Sometimes I can trick him by making a popping noise with the tab of a new can and pretending to give him a new can of food. My dog goes to bed at 8:30 p.m. every night, and when I say goes to bed I mean he stops whatever he is doing, leaves whoever he is with, and goes upstairs, alone, gets into my bed, pulls the pillows off, digs back the covers, and burrows under and goes to sleep. Then when I come to bed later on, he acts annoyed that I am waking him up. The oddest thing about this is that he does it at 8:30 every night, without fail. Not 8:25 or 8:33, 8:30. No idea how he does that. He cannot tell time as far as I know. My dog won't sleep without a pillow under her head. She'll lay awake next to me staring at me. I'll place a pillow next to her face. She'll adjust so her head is comfortable, and then she's out like a light within 30 seconds. My husky does the same thing, except she won't just wait for you to give her a pillow. She will gently grasp the edge with her teeth and pull that crap from under your head. Or she will use her massive paws to push your head off the pillow enough for her to slide her head on right beside yours. When my dog eats, she takes the food out of her bowl and runs across the house to her favorite chair to eat about 3-5 prices of dog food. She'll do that about 4-5 times until she realizes it's too much work and she just eats out of the bowl every single day. She never learns. On her birthday, just feed her at the chair. This may be considered an odd personality thing or an incredibly stupid cat thing. I lean towards the latter. I live in a single level house with a full basement that has only one way in or out. One of my cats will routinely go into the basement, stand roughly in the middle, and then meow forlornly until someone goes downstairs and rescues him. Apparently, he gets lost and has no idea how to get back up the staircase that he just walked down mere seconds before. Your cat may have kitty Alzheimer's. I knew a cat once that would forget where he was and do the same thing. Just sit down and cry the saddest cry until someone came for him. Really sad. Whenever my dog starts eating, she first takes one piece of kibble, walks a few feet away from her bowl, rolls around on it and chases it a bit, and then eats it. After that she has no problem eating the rest from her bowl. I like to think she thinks she's killing their leader or something. When my dog is walking, every 3 feet or so both his hind legs will hop off the ground in unison. It's the most adorable thing I've ever seen, and he's done it since he was a puppy. At first I thought it might have been that his back legs were hurting him, but he's comfortable with people touching them, and he can run and stand on them with no problem. I've got to get it on video someday. So, this is kind of terrifying to me, but it's adorable at the same time, I suppose. My cat knows how to open doorknobs. He's learned that, with me being a female, I can't leave the bathroom without using toilet paper. If he wants something and I'm in the bathroom, he'll open the door, grab the toilet paper that is hanging down with either his teeth or his paw and pull it and bring it to me. He'll then sit and wait, and if I don't use it, doesn't matter if I'm on the toilet or not, he'll get more. Doesn't matter if I'm in there to shower, brush my teeth, or take a pee. Neville will make you use the freaking toilet paper until he gets what he wants. My cat goes and kills so many birds and mice like any other cat will do, but when he brings them in he puts them in the toilet. It's a weird thing to walk in the bathroom and see a dead bird in the toilet. He's making soup. My dog absolutely loves chews, regular or hide sticks, pig ears, you name it. The twist is that she very rarely actually chews on them. Oh no, she will put one in her mouth, systematically pace every square goddamned inch of the space, and finally proceed to hide it. If you see her doing this, it's all a bust, and she has to find a new spot. She occasionally hides one, only moments later to decide that her spot wasn't good enough, at which point she retrieves it, rinse, repeat. Sometimes, she'll pick a spot but can't quite get it hidden enough. This usually manifests as her nosing the chew hundreds of times into a particular crack in a chair's cushions, or into a fold in our big beanbag seat. Then, something magical happens. She gets pee at it, the chew, the situation, it, and she starts bitching. She will whine, very loudly, at life, and it sounds like a pigeon having a stroke. Another fun fact, when we left our first apartment, we found like 7 or 8 chews just randomly hidden around. Whenever I'm having a bad slump in my depression, I pace. My Pomeranian will follow behind me and likely touch his nose to the back of my heel each time I take a step to remind me he's there, following me for hours just nudging me so I don't forget that I'm not alone. When I finally sit down, he curls up in my lap and nuzzles my stomach until I feel better. If I don't pace, he'll still stay as close to me as possible. He'll sleep jammed against the leg of my chair and the baseboard of the kitchen counter on the tile floor. He'll cry at me if I go upstairs without him. I can't even take a shower without him sitting in the bathroom with me. He only ever does this when I'm not feeling well. When I'm feeling alright, he generally keeps to himself. My dog refuses to get up off the couch and go to bed on her own. My husband has to pick her up off the couch, cradle her like a baby while he carries her upstairs, and then has to tuck her into her bed. She's a 50-pound pit bull. My Australia cattle dog will try to kick my wife off the bed so that she can cuddle with me. My wife hates getting licked by dogs, so naturally my dog will pin her down until she leaves. If that doesn't work, she will sneak onto the bed in the middle of the night to cuddle with me. Our dang cat does the same to me at 5 AM. He cries until I'll get up and then immediately crawls under the blankets and cuddles with my husband, but the cat has his head on my pillow and stretches to cover as much of the bed as possible. He's a little jerk, but he's cute, so I put up with it. My cat showed up on our back porch one day, and after the proper amount of time vet visits searching for her possible owners, we adopted her. At first we put a litter box in my parents' bathroom, and so she started to sleep in their room too. Anytime my dad would wake up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, she would go ahead and get up too. She would stretch, follow him into the bathroom, and tinkle right next to him before following him back to bed. Every night. That's adorable. My cat gives my so baths every day. He just waits till he's laying down and then goes and licks his hair for him. He is compelled to do this every time my so's head is within reach. He's a few slices short of a loaf, I think, but really sweet. My horse loves Skittles apparently. He stole the pack I was eating and tipped it into his mouth. You could hear all the Skittles hitting his teeth. Then he gave the empty pack back to me. My dog is just an idiot, but he's a golden retriever, so it's impossible to be upset when you're around him. In his opinion, every day is the best day of his life. Then he gave the empty pack back to me. I cracked up. I have a miniature dachshund and he will lay across my boyfriend's face if he starts making obnoxious noises while he's laying down. I love my dog. My wife and I had a little Shih Tzu named Maynard. He was the coolest little frick you could ever have. He never begged, and I mean never. We had to give him to my folks because the wife and I were moving out of the country. They also have a dog, and it is a poodle. That thing begged all the time when you were eating. All the time. The dog would even beg for food when you weren't eating. Well, when we were at my folks' house, we stayed for a few days, and eating dinner the poodle started to beg for food, barking and yelping, annoying as frick, and all sorts of other mess. Well, Maynard did not approve of that crap and went after the poodle and made him sit his happy butt down. Happiest father in the world right here, and it still puts a smile on my face. My last cat would only scratch brick, play with his toys and then arrange them in his toy box afterwards, play fetch, and loved strangers. I never trained him to do any of that. You could also tell him to do things and he'd do them, such as throw that away, go get your mousy toy, etc. You didn't have to give the exact command either. He wasn't trained to do these things, just learned them along the way. If you told him to do something he didn't like, such as put his favorite toy in the garbage, he'd dig it out later when you were sleeping and put it back in his toy box. You should have cloned the heck out of that cat. My cat, Todd, isn't the brightest. He enjoys catching mice and small injured birds. He can't catch real strong ones. He catches them and brings them through the cat door, upstairs, and brings them to my room, which is downstairs and the furthest location from the cat door. The catches, they are never dead. I've woken up to live birds flying around my room and my cat playing with a live mouse at the foot of my bed. It's crazy. My dog is incredibly enthusiastic when it comes to fetching. I brought her to the creek once and began to skip little stones when she walks into the shoulder deep water for her, feels around with her paws a little, then dunks her head underwater and resurfaces a few seconds later with a rock the size of her head. It's the oddest thing I've ever seen a dog do. My cat likes to catch mice and birds and feed them to our tortoise. The same cat is determined to sit at the dinner table with the family during meals. She may or may not have her own chair. One of my dogs is incapable of eating normally. He will take a couple of kibbles out of his bowl, run over to wherever you are, look directly at you, and loudly crunch his kibbles. Once that mouthful is finished, he will run back and get another, repeating the whole process. I should mention that he is a pug mix and he looked completely ridiculous at the best of times. When he's eating, it's just weird. He is also obsessed with spinach. My dog will bark if I ask him or anyone else in the same room as him a question. Somehow he knows. Yet when anyone else does this, he stays eerily quiet and just stares at them. I go to school out of state, so he lives at home being taken care of by my parents. He refuses to heed any command given to him by either of my parents, but once I'm back home he listens to my every command or comment. My mom will tell him to go outside. He lays down, but if I tell him to go outside, or even listen to mom, he does. It's the craziest crap out there. Lastly, the only instance where his other two quirks don't apply. If my parents or anyone else accuses me of anything, for instance, turning down the air, eating someone else's food, or anything like that, I can say ask the general. When they do, he'll either sit quiet or bark once. We figure the barking means yes. Silence means no. I've gotten out of being in trouble because my dog covers my back. TLDR. My dog and I are homies. Pretty sure if he could talk he could give police a false alibi for me. Whenever I go to brush my silky terrier, I'll take her collar off so I can brush her neck. She will, every time, pick up her collar and hold it in her mouth until I'm done. It's adorable and helpful. When I get home from work, my cat runs up to me, stands up on her hind legs, and stretches her front legs up my leg, waits for me to pet her head, then follows me around. Both cats also wait outside the bathroom for me, not anyone else in the apartment, just me. It feels both empowering and odd. My kitten does this too. In the mornings when I first get up he will run over, stand up on his hind legs waiting for me to pick him up and put him on my shoulder where he rides around while I get ready. Whenever anyone talks to my dog, he will look away, making him superior to anyone else. He always wants to be close to people, but never comforted. If you comfort him, he will look away, and if you try to make him look at you, he'll turn the other way. He won't have his pellets until he's 100% sure no other food is readily available. If you try go fetch with him, he'll fetch it, come close, but not give it over. If you try to walk him while it's raining, he'll just sit down, look at you, and wait for you to give up. The 3 things he will never disregard are the doorbell, food, when mom/dad let the rest of the family know it's time for food, he always shows up first, or the chance to lick human ears. Like, he'll shove his tongue in, clean your ears, and then just chill out. Best thing ever is when the doorbell rings while he's eating. He'll be hesitant to move, hesitant to eat, and end up barking in his bowl, running around a corner as if he's going for the door, and come back to his food. I'm on vacation in Spain right now. I miss Bruno so much, lol. Not to be a killjoy, but your dog's behavior is generally the mark of an insecure dog. My dog used to lay in the middle of the kitchen floor, only when there were a lot of people around and a lot of action in the kitchen. My dog lays in front of the fridge. He won't move, even if you open it. He just looks at you like you are inconveniencing him greatly. The fluffier of our 2 cats has this weird thing against bowls. Doesn't like it when the water is in them. He'll drink from a running faucet. He'll drink out of a glass. He will splash water on the floor and lick it up. Won't stick his tongue in the bowl. It's to be expected. Basically, his only observable skill is laying on things. My cat Curious has problems pooing and will cry if I'm not coaching her through her movements. Lately though, she has been coming in when I need to go and talking to me until I'm done. I like to think she is helping me back for helping her. My cat has to be petted while eating. If you don't pet him, he will follow you around and bother the crap out of you. He even goes on hunger strikes. So we pet him, and he shoves his face in the bowl trying to purr, wiggle his butt, and shovel food down his mouth all at once. This results in him making weird purring, choking sounds, and food and drool getting everywhere. My dog's favorite toys are those clear squeakers that come in dog toys. Whenever we bring a stuffed animal home, they are shredded within 10 minutes, as if he's liberating the squeaker. He then runs around the house with it in his mouth, panicking cause he doesn't know where to hide it. And God forbid you move it from his hiding spot, the center of the bed. He panics and has to hide it on another section of the bed. He knows how to squeak them and plays fetch with them. It's the weirdest thing. And he knows it by squeaker, so he'll go fetch it when we tell him. He's so weird, but I love him. My kitten will only sleep when she is between me and my boyfriend. If either of us leaves the bed, she won't lay down until we return. My puppy hates it when my wife and I fight. I'm sure this is common among pets, but it is so cute that I had to mention it. He seems to know when we're upset with one another and he tries to drive us into the same room together. It has actually worked once or twice. My cat does the same thing. If someone is yelling, she runs up to them and cries. If they are sitting down, she puts her face right in theirs. One of our 3 dogs went missing one day. We searched for hours and finally found him after he had been hit by a utility truck. After a few sad moments, we took him to be buried and my dog, Chance, sat by him unmoving. When it came time to replace the dirt, Chance actually buried him by moving the dirt with his nose. Chance sat there with him the rest of the day as if he was saluting a dear old comrade. It was a humbling thing to see. How could anyone possibly downvote this post? My 2 cats only drink water out of the other's dish. They each have separate food and water dishes in the kitchen about 10 feet apart. Same food, same water. But they will always eat some food, then go over to the other cat's water to drink. One of my cats won't come in the door if anyone is looking at her. Everyone in the room has to divert their gaze before she will enter the house. Then she'll run, like her life depends on it, upstairs to her bed. Lily Pancakes, my Labrador Staffy Cross, thinks she's a cat and likes to sleep curled up on my lap or on the back of the chair with her head resting on my shoulder. My pet Rock doesn't move from his favorite spot until I physically pick him up and move him. It's like he's now incapable of moving on his own. My cat humps his blanket, only when I'm home and in the room. He doesn't do it to my parents or when I have a friend over. He also likes to look at me when he does it. I make him stop. It's awkward. My dog will not eat unless I'll look at his food and say I'm gonna eat it, then he barks at me, runs to his food, and eats quickly, all while looking at me suspiciously. My dog was a blue heeler cross, so sometimes she'd try to take care of us or manage our family as if we were her herd. When we'd sled in the winter in our yard, she'd freak out and bite our jackets and pull us off the sleds to save us. In the summer we'd go swimming at our cabin and she'd leap off the dock after us to save us. When I was little, she'd turn around and present her tail to me in the water and I'd hold on as she towed me back to the safety of the dock. I loved her so much. If I've already fed him for the night, he'll try trick my partner into thinking he hasn't been fed yet and get dinner again. Also, he's either watching me use the bathroom or trying to dig under the door crying, often in the company of my toddler-aged son doing the same thing, lol. My cat will hop atop her scratching post when she's happy to be petted. Any other time, she'll get crappy and scratch the crap out of you. Also, she uses a human toilet, which is crazy awesome because it's so easy to clean. I had a cat that used the toilet too. When I discovered her doing it, it was hilarious and I kept thinking back to that movie Meet the Parents. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.